Hello friends, welcome back to the channel, or if you are new here, welcome. Does anybody else feel like the last few months have just flown by? It is crazy to me to think that in 2 weeks it is already Thanksgiving. Christmas is right around the corner, and so is the new year. It feels like it was just summer not that long ago, so it is crazy to me that we are right in the midst of the holidays. I'm sure it has something to do with it just starting to cool off here. It was warm for quite a while, and it was kind of surprising how warm it stayed. But now that it has cooled off, it is very exciting to start decorating for Christmas, which is exactly what we're going to get into today. So I'm starting with drying oranges. This is something that I have been doing for a number of years. I absolutely love how dried oranges look, and I'm kind of also doing other ones too. This year I did lemon, and I wanted to do grapefruit, but they didn't have any at the store. So I do plan on doing grapefruit as well. I love the contrast of colors, and I just love how these always look. So I'm starting with them today because it does take a couple of hours in the oven, since you will have them pretty low, and then you'll rotate them frequently and keep them in there until they're dried. It takes about 2 to 3 hours, I would say, at a very low temperature until they're completely dried. Now that I have those going in the oven, I'm going to start making an egg casserole for breakfast for the kids. This is actually something, I thought it was kind of funny that I didn't think of this until I was making it, but this is actually something I usually will make on Christmas. I will make it the night before, and then I will pop it in the oven while we are opening gifts, and then after gifts I just pull it out of the oven and we have breakfast already made. This is a really simple breakfast. It is very hearty. You can pretty much put whatever you want in it, and my kids absolutely love this. Every time I make it, it really doesn't matter what I put in it, they always love this breakfast, and I love how easy it is, how filling it is, and it really does not take very much time. There are also not really precise measurements with this because you kind of just make it whatever you want, and I'm just pretty much looking for a consistency. So usually I will have like hash browns in the bottom. I definitely used less than half a bag, but I don't know how many cups I used. So I put hash browns in the bottom, and then I generally will crack about 12 eggs in, and then into that I will put milk. I stir it in. I usually will have some ground sausage, but I actually didn't have any on hand. So what I did was I just heated up some sausage and like sausage patties, and then cut them up really small into like sausage crumbles. I put that in. You could do bacon if you rather, or you could do veggies. You really don't have to have any meat at all if you're not wanting. And honestly, I like to mix this dish up quite often just to kind of make it different every time. So I don't really add in a lot of like seasonings. I just do salt and pepper. And I kept forgetting, that I had wanted to do some mushrooms. So I went and chopped those up, added those in, and I'll add in the cheese. And then I just put that in the oven and at 350 until it's done. It takes about 50-ish minutes. Just check to make sure that it's done in the center, kind of like you do a cake. My kids love eating this with a couple dashes of hot sauce on the top, like a Tabasco. And it's interesting because my mom, she had some guests over. This was like a couple of years ago, and she made some like a similar casserole for breakfast for them. It's great when you have guests in town because it is so easy, and like I said, you can pretty much add in whatever. If you're not sure if they like a certain meat, you could just do veggies, or you could just leave them out and have just kind of an egg bake with potatoes. So anyway, she served it, and they ate it with what I thought was super weird at the time, but it was yellow mustard. And I have just never heard of anyone eating yellow mustard with eggs, and I thought it was super weird. But then I tried it, and it really actually goes. It's such a weird combination to me still, but surprisingly, the tastes go together really well. So anyway, it is a very versatile dish. You can have it topped with salsa, you can have it plain, but it is perfect for Christmas morning. So if you have been here for a while, you were here last year, you might remember where my trees were, we had multiple. This year, I'm kind of switching it up. And what we were thinking was right here where this picture is and this table, I was going to move them because it's a smaller table. And we were going to try to put our Christmas tree there. So we have multiple, and I'm kind of referring to my tree, the one that I usually will decorate mostly by myself. And then the kids will also have a tree. We're not 100% positive where we're going to be putting it. I think we're putting it up in the loft. So that is what we have planned so far. And I actually will have multiple Christmas videos this year because I just could not do it in one day. And I feel like, are other people like this? I feel like I am really slow when it comes to decorating. It's not that I'm a perfectionist, but I like taking my time with it and kind of deciding, do I like it like this? I take my time fluffing. I take my time putting decorations and moving decorations and just kind of really sitting with something for a little bit. And it just takes me a little bit more time to decorate. And I'm really like that with like every holiday. So it was no surprise that I am like that, Again, with Christmas, it takes me a little bit longer to get everything put out. And because of that, I'm going to have a couple different Christmas videos. I did only get to like the living room today, and I have not moved much past that. So we have multiple other Christmas trees, multiple other areas to decorate that I am super excited about. But just because I take forever, we're going to have to split them up into multiple videos. So the reason why I am moving my Christmas tree over here, so it is 9 feet tall, and then plus we put the star on top. So the star is, I don't think it's quite a foot, but I mean, it's pretty tall. So we needed at least a 10-foot ceiling. And over here, not in front of the window. So there is a fan in front of the window, and I'll probably show it here shortly. But so I couldn't put it in front of the window for that reason. But the ceiling is high enough over here in front of this picture. And my daughter, actually, she was in the living room the whole time, just right out of camera shot. So she was talking to me, and we decided that I do need to take this picture down while the tree is up. It just kind of takes away from the tree a little bit. So I think I will be taking that down until we put our Christmas stuff away. But anyway, we usually will have this tree next to the fireplace, and we absolutely love it there. It is beautiful, but there's a couple of different issues. One of the biggest issues with having it over by the fireplace is so it is a rock wall, and completely rock. There are no outlets, there are no wires, nothing. So everything that is on that wall, the TV, the internet, everything that we would plug in is directly right past the rock wall. It plugs into like our half wall. And so everything is housed in that cabinet that is right there on our rock wall, our internet, all of our cords, plugins for the TV, everything like that. It all goes through that cabinet. So I don't really like having to move the cabinet every year because I have to mess with the cords, things get unplugged, and then the tree actually has to then plug into all that as well. So it kind of becomes a pain, and I just don't like having to do that every year. I also don't love the idea of having the two trees in the living room, which we usually do. We've done that every year, and it just seems very crowded, and I don't want to do that. So we're going to try it. At this point in the video, I was still unsure if it was going to look okay over here, and I'm showing you, it actually does not look how far away from the top I was. I was a good foot from the top of the tree, and so you will see that I cannot put the star on the tree. I cannot decorate up there. My daughter does come down. She has a longer wingspan than I do, and so she came down, and because I'm on the step stool, and so she comes down and she fluffs the top. But other than that, I waited for my husband to come home, which he is usually here to help with like putting up the stuff. I mainly do the decorations, but he will help fluff and reach anything that I can't get to. So I do wait for that. And in my next video, I will show you, you know, the finished product and everything. But it was just kind of funny because I could not reach, even on the step stool, I could not reach the top of the tree. So anyway, I'm trying this area out in the living room this year. And at this point in the video, I was very unsure if I liked where it was. I wasn't positive about it. I do end up, once I get it all decorated, I will move it up against, well, closer to the wall, not up against it, but I'll move it closer to the wall and kind of a little bit more out of the way. But I end up really loving where we put it. When we also had it over by the fireplace, we could not put presents under this tree, so we reserved this tree for like gifts for other people that we were bringing to their house, or if they were coming to do Christmas with us. So we would put like small gifts under it because it is a slim tree, so it doesn't hold very much, and it was right in the walkway, so we could not put hardly anything under it. This time, now being over in this area, there is a significant amount of space, so we can put gifts under the tree and around the tree. And I think that's what we're planning on doing if the tree upstairs on the loft ends up working out. So what I do is I kind of just start with tinsel. I will honestly work with tinsel throughout the whole time. And just move it around, rearrange it, move it how I like it. I ended up finding more tinsel, so I thought I only used one pack, and I think I usually only use one pack, but it just didn't seem like enough this year, so I ended up finding another pack and using that as well. It's nice because now that it's in front of the window here, it adds a nice element of sparkle that I really, really love, and I wasn't expecting that. I didn't think of that until I had it moved over here and was adding the tinsel. So I added the tinsel to everywhere I could reach, and then I am putting in colored ribbon. I also have this glitter ribbon that I like tying to the branches. It just adds a really nice element of glitter. So I add in some red just to kind of tie in little elements and have those pop out, and then I will also put in these little sparkly ribbons too. I'm not really sure what these are called, but I like to get a couple every year, and if I don't use them in the tree, which I use a couple in the tree, but not very many. I use maybe like 5. I like sticking with odd numbers because it is more appealing to the eye. So I will kind of just put in here and there. I'll add them into the tree, but I only use about 5, and then the other ones I will put in vases or baskets around the house. So I like having whatever these little branches, I guess they can be called. I don't know. I have them in various colors. I love them in red. I love how you can kind of like weave them into the tree. You can weave them into different wreaths and stuff like that. Like I put it on the fireplace. You'll see that shortly. I love the red ones. I love the little red pop. I don't know exactly what style I decorate for Christmas or really any of the holidays. I just do whatever I love, and that's what works for us. But I definitely love the greens and the neutrals, the sparkles added in, and then the pops of red I absolutely love. Now I'm going in and adding in the larger ornaments first before I add in smaller ones. This peace ornament, I don't know why, but it's one of my absolute favorites. It's a very random, but I got it a couple years ago, and I always put it pretty front and center on my tree. So that is one of the first ones I do to make sure it has a good spot. And then I'm adding in, like I said, they're kind of larger. They're not the huge ornaments by any means, but they are larger than like other ones I have. So I'm adding in the larger ones and just kind of working down to the smaller ones. And I know that a lot of people have questions about like the breakable ornaments. Some of mine are breakable, like this one in particular is not, but other ones are. And honestly, we have never had an issue with ornaments. Like, sure, over the years we've had, broken ornaments here or there. This one is a glass one. But we have two cats, and neither one of them have ever tried climbing or tree or getting in it or anything like that. They do like laying under the tree. So that is really the only, it's not even really an issue, but I think that they like the warmth of the lights. So they often will lay under the tree, but I have never ever had an issue with them climbing it. And then also my kids are really good about it too. They have never really tried to play with the ornaments or anything like that. I don't really know the problems that people have because my kids never really paid attention. I mean, they love the tree and they get very excited, but like they have never like messed with the tree, I guess, other than, us decorating it. So, and honestly, they have their own tree that I let them do whatever they want with. And they're kind of like me with my tree, like they're like that with their tree. I will kind of move things around and I'll just sit and look at it and tweak it every now and then. They're like that with their tree, and they don't have breakable ornaments on their tree. They're all plastic, and then they have all the ornaments that they made on their tree. So I've never really had issues with the breakable ornaments. So I'm showing you this one that is obviously glass. It is one that I got last year. I got 2 small packets of like vintage ornaments from a thrift shop. Can't talk this morning. And here is another one. I thought they were absolutely beautiful. They are very delicate, so often I will put them towards the top half of the tree, just in case our dog Ted ends up running around and knocking it down. So I'm curious if anybody else goes through this. He is a herding dog, and he actually tries to herd our children. So I'm curious if anybody else has like a herding dog and they do the same. If our boys are running around, he gets so excited and he actually like tries to herd them. So it's actually kind of an issue, and that is why he's the only reason why I would have any broken ornaments, honestly. It's definitely not the kids, it's Ted. So the ornament that I was just showing you is the remembrance ornament that the hospital sent us last year for our son that passed away. I always put that one front and center. And then this one is an ornament that we got from my mother-in-law. She got remarried and changed her name and ended up sending my husband some of like the ornaments that they had when he was really little. So that ornament is actually from 1989. And so he would have been 2 years old, and I just think it's really cool. It's like a windowscape, and you look in and the couple and their child are decorating the tree. So anyway, that was that. And then the Bigfoot ornament is kind of a joke. My husband thinks it's funny that I like, decorating this tree how I want. I like it nice and pretty, and I don't want people to mess with it and touch it. And he likes to put his little touch on it. So he found that glittery Bigfoot, and he always insists that it goes directly on my tree. He thinks it's kind of funny, and I mean it kind of is. So usually I will put it on the tree because it does go with the colors. It is nice and sparkly, but it's just his touch on my Christmas tree. And I put it right when you come in the front door right there. It's right there. You can see right when you walk in. Now I am going to put the tree skirt on, and if you notice later in the video, it's a completely different tree skirt. So I love this tree skirt. I've had it for a number of years. I will have it on the checkered side all Christmas season long, and then on Christmas Day after we open gifts, I'll switch it to this side that says Merry Christmas. So however, after I put it on, I realized my daughter, she was like bringing me the stuff. We had everything up in the loft, and I did that, and I like how I did that. In previous years, I will just take everything out and have everything. It's like Christmas threw up in my living room. But it becomes very overwhelming, and it's like I don't know what to do, and we have for days Christmas all over our living room. So we kept it in the loft this year, and I absolutely love how that worked. I did not feel overwhelmed in any way. So she was up there kind of bringing me stuff just slowly so I could put it where it belongs and go through things. So she ended up bringing me that, but after I put it on the tree, I'm like, actually, I don't think this is the one we use for this tree. So we end up switching it, and she's here. She thought it was kind of funny because she didn't realize the camera was on. She usually tries to stay out of camera shot. So if you're new here, that is kind of why she's avoiding the camera. And I kept moving it because I was trying to figure out the pillows on the couch. And she's like, you just really want to record me eating my burrito. I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm just, you're always right there. So anyway, that's what we were talking about and kind of laughing about. So she was here trying to help me decide about the pillows. I'm still unsure about them. So I had those, I think they said cheer on them. They were the red and black pillows, and I love them, but I think they did not look very good on the couch. So we end up switching them around. I do not have really, these were the ones so I put it on the couch. I switched the blankets, and we're like, you know what, they just do not look good. So we ended up switching things around, and I put those, they're kind of a gold color on the couch, the pillows. I put those back, and this Mary pillow I usually will have on my bed, but we decided that they looked good with the gold. So if I don't switch out the gold, this is how it will kind of remain. I put our blankets on the couch, our Christmas blankets, and just kept it very, very simple. I also wanted to reduce the amount of pillows because we host for Christmas, and they're just kind of always in the way when we host. And so I didn't want to have nearly as many pillows on the couch either. While we are working on the Christmas decor in the living room, I wanted to do almost like a Christmas style, like a mini Christmas dinner. So that is what we're going to do tonight. And I wanted to get the ham going in the oven because it was starting to get a little later in the afternoon. So I'm going to get the ham going, and then a little later when we're all done decorating, I'll come in and I'll do the rest of the sides. We are now going to be working on the mantle here in the living room. I love having the mantles in the house. We have one in the kitchen that I also love decorating. This one is a little trickier because the TV is ginormous and it sits on the mantle. It has a piece of wood that kind of holds it in place, but then it also is tied with like these metal rods to the rock wall. But it just seems scary, so I try not to touch it as much as possible. So I can't do too much, I feel like, to the mantle. I recently got this garland from Hobby Lobby. It was $50 regular price, but I got it for 50% off. And I think that they usually have their stuff for 50% off. But I ended up just getting one, and I actually thought it was going to be bigger than this. So it doesn't do, I wanted it to drape more down the sides, and it did not. However, it ended up working out anyway. So I'll probably next year, I don't like to buy too much at one point. So I think next year I'll probably grab another one to add to it and just have more of a draped effect. But for this year, we're going to call it good enough. It actually turns out really beautiful, and I absolutely love how it turns out. But I just got a plain one, and it is, I don't know the material, but it is almost a rubbery material, and I think that it's going to last longer, which is why I picked it out. So I like tying in different things, those like branches that I was referring to from the tree. I always like adding the berries and different things on the garland on the fireplace. I also have some antique looking bells that I got at Hobby Lobby a couple years ago, so I tied those in, and I'm still debating on hanging the dried oranges. I often will have the dried oranges on here too, but I am debating that. I don't want it to be too cluttered because it does end up turning out really beautiful how it is. Now that I have the garland all situated, I'm going to add in some of the decor and like our fireplace elements over here, just so they're easily accessible for when we use our fireplace, which we use a lot during the winter. I found this little basket. It has snowmen on it last year when I was thrifting, so I hung that on the hook, and I thought it looked super cute there. So I was excited because I didn't end up using it last year. Here is just a glance at how I ended up doing the garland and how it ended up turning out. Like I said, I love the classic colors and mostly just like the winter, the greens, the reds. So I really love how simple it is, but how it turned out. That reindeer that I have on the fireplace, I'll end up showing it again here soon, but I got that at Hobby Lobby like 10 years ago, and it does light up. It's absolutely beautiful at nighttime. So I like having it on the fireplace to add that like nice little glowing element. So now I am my daughter. She's right behind me. That's who I'm talking to, not myself, but I'm talking to her because we're trying to figure this out. As you can see, there is a gap where I thought the garland would be a little longer, and which it ended up working out. I'm glad that there is this gap, but we usually will have the stockings on the other side. This year, we decided to put it right here in this gap, and the tree is usually right in this area too. So it adds in a really great little touch. It fills it in very nicely. You can see my little snowman basket underneath, and it ends up really working out. So I was very, very happy with that. And because even up until this point, I was nervous at the fact that, are we going to have to move all this and adjust everything after we put it up all day long? And move the tree to where we usually put it, but I was pretty happy with how everything turned out. So as of now, I think we're going to leave everything how it is, and that might actually be how it is moving forward too. I ended up switching all of our stockings last Christmas and getting new stockings for the whole family. Actually, I think it was the Christmas before, because we have a stocking for Hayden as well. But I only have these out. Kyle and I, we put our stockings on our fireplace in our bedroom just because there was never really room for them in here. So we have our stockings in our bedroom. And honestly, I don't leave them up there whenever I stuff them. So when we get up on Christmas morning, they're actually under the tree. Because it's just way too heavy, and they're an awkward, like I love how these are, they're that sweater material, but they're really awkward to hang after they have a bunch of stuff in them. So we do take them down, and Kyle and I, our stockings will be in our bedroom. I'm just kind of giving you an after shot of how everything turned out before we wrap up today's video. Like I said, there is going to be multiple videos because we do multiple trees. The boys will have a tree in their room. My daughter, at some point, she puts up a tree in her room. Usually it's a little closer to Christmas, and she kind of does a sugar plum fairy type of theme in hers, and it ends up being really pretty, but she doesn't always like being displayed on camera, so I don't know if I'll end up being able to show that. Maybe just her Christmas tree, but she puts it up herself, usually with friends, or she'll be talking to friends and put it up, and she does it very randomly, but it is always very pretty. She does the golds and the pinks, and it's always like a sugar plum fairy theme. It always looks so cute. But anyway, so there will be a ton more Christmas to come. We will have, I think next I'll be decorating the kitchen. I like putting up mini trees in the kitchen and decorating the fireplace. So we have a lot more Christmas decorating ahead. Now, since I am done with the living room, I'm getting started on dinner. And I kept looking up when I was cooking at how you can see the tree right there as you're cooking, and I love that. So I'm pretty excited about how everything turned out and how you can see. I like the placement of the tree. It was very exciting to be able to look up from what I was doing in the kitchen and be able to see that. And like I said, it's an exciting time of year. It seems like it's been creeping up very quickly, but I'm very excited now that we're doing it. So I'm just getting some various things put together. I'm not doing a full cook with me because, it pretty much is self-explanatory, and also I'm doing very easy things. So my green bean casserole, I actually keep very, very simple. My mom, she'll add cheese and stuff like that, and I like it just with cream of mushroom soup, the French style green beans, and then the crunchy onions on top. I'll bake that, and that is exactly how I like it. I like it very simple. Here's how the ham turned out. It was delicious. I made some deviled eggs and the green bean casserole. We had mashed potatoes and gravy. My daughter even made some chocolate chip cookies for after dinner for dessert for everyone. And honestly, I feel like I'm going to have to keep this little mini Christmas dinner a tradition now every year while we're decorating, because it was actually really, I don't know, there was something about it. It just felt more Christmassy. It felt more exciting, and it was very simple. A lot of things just was in the oven, and I slowly prepped it throughout the day, so it took hardly any time. But anyway, I think I'm going to have to make that more of a tradition every year. Like I said, we have a ton more of Christmas decorating to still do this season, so I hope that you will join me for that. But this is all I have for you today. So thank you so much for hanging out with me and decorating the tree with me. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.